Welcome to another edition of Dish It Out. I'm having deja vu as if this has happened before. We have coming to us all the way from Princeton, New Jersey. Yes, it's local, and he's going to be doing some local dishes. We have Chef Scott Anderson, and we have Chef Mike Ryan from Elements in Princeton. And speaking of local dishes, we have somebody local to introduce those dishes, the one and only Chef Doug Fig.
And that, of course, is Chef Frank Benowitz. And our dishes today that we're going to be enjoying are some hamachi tartare, some steak tartare, and, of course, our pork with hazelnut. You're going to love what you see. Stick around. Welcome back. And welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So now our first dish sounds very exciting. And what is it, Chef?
We're going to do a hamachi tartare. Hamachi is commonly used in sushi as sashimi. We're going to chop it up, make it into tartare using some ginger and scallion, and dress it up with a little bit of our herbs from the garden.
Outstanding. From your garden?
From my garden.
Outstanding.
Indeed. We just picked them, so fresh as can be.
Literally just picked them. I watched them washing them for about 3 hours.
It was about that.
Nothing.
Yeah. They got to look pretty.
All right.
Doesn't
All right.
get any fresher than that. So what are you going to start?
Let's begin. Mike, you want to start off by cutting up the hamachi?
Sure.
While he's doing that, I'm going to take some ginger, which we have here. We got some scallion from my garden also. What I'm going to do is we're going to grate the ginger into a bowl. And then we're going to chop up the scallion and mix it with that. And then we're going to flavor it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some rice wine vinegar, season it, maybe a little bit of salt. It may not even need it. And that's really it. It's really a very simple, clean dish. It's really relying on the flavor of the hamachi itself. I chose the belly portion of hamachi because it has a higher fat content, therefore having a little bit more flavor.
Is that because you were visiting me today?
No. I just prefer to use that cut for the tartare. So, grating ginger is real simple. You just take the back of a spoon or a spoon to scrub off the skin of the ginger, and then you just go ahead and grate it. Do you think, Mike, a fair amount?
I got a teaspoon.
So, Chef, where did you get this hamachi from?
We get it from. This comes off the coast of Japan. It is a farm-raised fish, so it is fully sustainable. But we get it from one of our seafood guys.
And what was his name? I'm just joking. I meant you.
I was going to make up something.
I figured you were.
Yeah.
No, I meant you're getting it from Japan because I know I've been to your restaurant many times, and
Right.
it's obviously a wonderful place. Make sure you go visit. You can have this fresh, not today, but when you go visit. And I've seen the fish. I remember once on the Foodie Friday where that fish was coming in, and you were watching the clock because dinner started
Right.
at about 5:30 p.m. and the fish was about 3:30. Finally, when it's walking through the door, doesn't get much fresher than that, I guess, right?
Not really. Not
Unless you're
really.
in Japan.
And I tell you, you might be able to get this dish at the restaurant. We just chose to do it here.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
see, you're out of luck. But you know
Well,
what?
maybe.
That's the beauty of Elements is that it's very spontaneous, and I've been there many times where a lot of times you say both you and Chef Mike will come up with things on the fly, and they'll change things throughout menu service with
Right.
your tastings.
Right, and that's kind of why we also chose. We didn't bring too many of the seasoning products because we wanted to see what you had here, and we figured we'd be able to use it, do it all minute. So.
We are honored. It's putting on a clinic here with these knife cuts.
It's important. It's important for tartares. You can do a number of different size cuts. Personally, for fish, I like to have like little dice like he's doing it. A lot of times, we're going to demonstrate next with a steak tartare. You chop it a lot finer, so it has a little bit of a smoother texture. But I kind of like it this way for fish.
You just gave our audience a hint what was coming up. Did you say steak tartare?
I did.
Oh, God bless you.
I did. All right, let me just go ahead and chop up these scallions. And these are going to be pretty strong, I'm assuming, so we won't use too many of them.
And so those are also fresh from the garden as well.
Yep, just picked. 3-hour wash.
3-hour wash, yeah.
It's important. All right, so
And even though this may not be particularly on the menu when they come in, there'll be a variety of other items, maybe similar. And
yeah,
you
we
usually have a tartare, don't you?
we usually have a tartare of some sort on the menu. You know, preferably, you know, whatever fish we get in really fresh is what we like to use, obviously. All right, Mike, go ahead.
So just by looking at you putting this dish together, it's not necessarily a lot of components to it, but a lot of flavor and a lot of
Right.
The key is the freshness, right?
Yeah, that's usually the key. You know, it's you could really dress it up with as much stuff as you want, but like I said earlier, you know, you really want the flavor of the fish to stand out. So. And that's really it. You know, we're just gonna plate it up and make it look fancy, and
And then we eat.
you wanna go ahead and
That's
taste it?
Frank's favorite part.
You always gotta taste your food. Very important. Taste everything
I think
before
he
you.
was talking to me.
I'm tasting it too.
How is it?
Here you go.
Oh, really?
Wow.
See?
I hope
Shafi
there's
does
some left for the
that.
rest of us.
No, we just do a taste.
One of the things we emphasize here, you have to taste everything, make sure your
Absolutely.
seasonings are right before it gets to the customer.
Indeed. Indeed.
It's damn tasty.
All right.
All right.
That's not a curse, by the way.
Damn,
don't
son.
think that opens the floodgates for you.
All right, Mike. Let's go ahead. You go ahead and canal it up, and then. Hold on a sec.
And what was that term you just used?
Which one?
Tablespoon.
Oh, thank you. Good service.
Do what?
Canal.
The canals, yeah. Just gonna take 2 spoons, and he's gonna make the 3-sided shape.
And that's what a lot of the food in your restaurant is about, is, you know, the freshness and also the technique that's involved
Right.
in the presentation.
Yeah.
'Cause the food definitely always looks good in elements.
And we can see Mike has done this once or twice. And those are fresh spoons, by the way.
He watched those for 3 hours too.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
The magic of television. That's all right. It'll just be Mike and I eating it anyway, right?
Right.
So what we got going on here now?
We have a few different sprouts. We have cilantro from Elements Garden, and then we use a company called Blue Moon Acres, coming out of both at this point, Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Pennington. They do a lot of micro herbs. So we had some red mustard frills from over there, and this is a Japanese sprout called Indigo Kaiware. It's really mustardy, really delicious, and it goes well with this dish. And there we have it.
That's
Good.
pretty.
Very pretty.
Real simple, real elegant, and clean.
I'm waiting for Frank to say that's good for me. Where's the rest?
I mean, come on.
There are
Oh,
2 canals you guys can share.
We'll share, of course.
The rest will be coming up shortly. Stick around.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. This first pitch is fouled to the back of the
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back. It's time for more tartare. And this time we're moving from seafood to beef. So what do we have coming up now?
Right.
Here's the beef. I'm sorry. that
Here's
was
the
very-
beef. I knew you were going to say that. All right, here's the beef. We're going to do a classic, or I should say somewhat classic, steak tartare using ribeye here. It's important for steak tartare that you chop it pretty finely. I wouldn't say as far as putting it through the meat grinder, because you do want a little bit of texture, but it is pretty fine. We also have some Dijon mustard. We have egg yolk, from an egg, obviously from a local farm. We prefer to use those eggs all the time. The rest of the stuff here are some garnishes, like I said before, from Blue Moon Acres. We have some mustard greens from our garden, some parsley, some radish. Those are all going to be garnishes. When we mix in the tartare, we like to have a little bit of acidity, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of creaminess from the egg. And then we're going to use a little bit of spice from our friends Tabasco.
Very nice.
All
So
right.
creating some balance. No,
Yeah.
and seeing if this is still warm.
Not that warm.
This isn't that fresh.
No. No. It's yesterday fresh, which is still pretty fresh.
Very, very nice. I mean, you can see the height in that yolk.
Yeah, they're good eggs. All right, Mike, let's do
Let's
it.
go.
Let's do it. You can start mixing. I'll start chopping. We're just gonna get a little bit of minced shallot here. Add some, a little bit of an onion bite.
Well, you're cutting into your pet shallot, though.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's for a greater good. Now, where did you get this this ribeye from? I mean, this is gorgeous.
I believe that is from the right side of the cow.
Thank you. As opposed
Good
to
one.
as opposed to the back end of the cow.
When
See
you
what we've created, I tell you.
Yeah. When you mince your shallots, it's a good idea to make them as small as possible because you don't want a big old shallot chunk in your bites of tartare, or maybe you do, but I prefer not.
So you're gonna leave me hanging on the beef? Is that local? Is it grass fed? Is it?
No, I am not. I personally like cows that have a little bit of fat to them. I don't like them full grass fed.
Okay.
You know, I like them finished on grain. I like that flavor. Personally, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here. If I want a grass fed animal, I'll eat venison. You know, I like a little bit of fat to my beef.
Well, you're talking to the right person, obviously. So I mean, a lot of the animals they'll pasture them for say 18 months the first, and then they'll finish them off with
Right.
the
Right.
corn fed, and that's what we're mostly used to.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's what I like.
Right here we have some pickled jalapenos that we did at the restaurant. So we're just gonna add a little bit of spice and a little bit of acidity to the tartare. You say we go big?
Go big.
All right.
Big or go home.
Now, how long do you pickle that for?
I don't even know how old these guys are.
They gotta be like 7 months.
Yeah, these.
They were probably from last year.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
last summer maybe. Yeah. But they're. What do you say? Well, we'll taste it and we'll see if they're gonna go any bigger than that.
That's probably going to be that ingredient that you're. Hey, what's this?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, in classic, I guess in classic steak tartare, you'll have either cornichons, capers, or both.
yeah.
You know, we just opted to do something a little bit different.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
instead of having the cornichons, you have the pickled jalapeno.
Right.
Something different than other restaurants.
All set.
All set? All right, Mike, you're gonna plate it up. You
No, yeah.
give him
fine.
a taste. We're in trouble.
Oh, do you need the spoon? To
I got
plate
the
up?
spoon now.
You sure?
Yep.
You good?
Got a
I
mold.
mean, you can't track me.
And that's one of the things we try and show our students here is to make a dish, a signature dish of your own. Don't necessarily follow the recipe
Correct.
and make your own. And speaking of students, we actually have Elements is excellent in giving back to the community where we have placed our students working under your tutelage, which works out quite nicely.
Yeah, they're all great. Everybody who's passed through there has been wonderful.
Yeah, we're very fortunate here as a community college that we have such great supporters. We have Chris Albrecht over at Enoterra and Rory and Aaron over at Blue Bottle Cafe, and now for the past year and a half now, Elements has been a great supporter, and really that's where our students can bring what they learn in the classroom to actual fruition, is working under a great chef like Chef Scott and Chef Mike, where they can get to the next level that they're desiring to get to, which we can't honestly do just in the classroom. So we appreciate your support and your tutelage of our students.
And we try and give them the basic tools so we can send them out and they can learn to see what it's like in the real world.
That's
And hopefully that's rewarding to them because restaurants, they're all different and they can all be neat and crazy in their own right. So, and there you have it, steak tartare.
Dive
And we'll
in.
be back for more
Yeah.
right after this.
Did Did you know that getting up and getting active for just 60 minutes a day is all it takes to help you get stronger, look better, and feel great?
Or that fresh fruits and veggies aren't just healthier and crunchier, they can taste better too?
Eating better and getting more active is easier than you think.
Yeah! Keep watching for some fun and easy ways to discover the magic of healthy living in your life.
America.
Let's get healthy together!
Welcome back. Now it's time to get into a little more, we had our appetizers, something a little more appetizing for me, the pork and hazelnuts.
Right.
So where do we start here? We got a lot of ingredients laid out here.
Yeah, this dish is a little bit more complicated. It is also a seasonal dish. We're getting our pork locally from Hopewell. You'll see over here in the ingredient pile we have some maitake mushrooms, some cabbage, and then we have a fair amount of other different purees that we're going to help enhance the dish. What do we have here, Mike? We have hazelnut puree.
Hazelnut puree. We have nasturtium puree. Nasturtium is a great spicy herb. Cabbage and a potato glaze.
That's right here.
Yep.
All right.
The top one right there is a curd that we've used buttermilk to separate with. 60 degrees for a little bit of time allows it to separate, and we've taken that and pureed with a little bit of mushroom. The powder is a dehydrated milk that we've toasted in a little butter, and then we have the pork up there too.
And how did you cook the pork? We do it a little bit differently at the restaurant, which is starting to become a little bit more commonplace. I think at Williams-Sonoma you can buy vacuum machines and all these fancy technologies to do stuff underwater called sous vide. So Mike cooked this as probably part of the pork leg at 60 degrees Celsius for about a half an hour. So then basically what we're going to do is just, all you have to do is warm it up. So this is a perfect dish to get done ahead of time if you're having guests. Then you can just warm up the pork real slowly and it's delicious.
Now, the other way that they can prep this dish or a dish similar to this would be to call for reservations over at Elements.
Right.
And that's even easier. They can have their guests with them and not prepare anything, and you'll prepare it for them.
That's probably
Or in
an
this
easier
case,
way.
Mike's going to do most of the work, right?
Exactly.
All right, Chef.
You're right. You want to give me your Peltex?
So look, you got your curds and whey, right?
It is basically pork, curds, and whey. What he's going to do is these maitake mushrooms, they do grow locally. We've had a bunch of people bring them to our back door. They're fantastic mushrooms. They grow in late summertime. These are cultivated, coming out of Pennsylvania. And all you want to do is give them a light sear. Because mushrooms are about 90% water, as soon as they come up to temperature, their internal temperature boils, they're pretty much cooked. So it's really a quick process, high heat. You can hear it as he presses down. They're basically cooking, and they're almost done.
See, we really cook here on Dish It Out, right?
We do really cook here. Oh, we really cook. I don't know anymore.
And our students really cook here on campus when they take our credit and non-credit classes. They learn the dry heat method searing, along with a number of other things here. So, and you can check out more on that on our website, mccc.edu/HRIM.
This is not your first time doing this.
Well, we've done this much ago.
Okay.
We do a shameless plug here and
Plugs
there
are us, yeah.
and everywhere.
You want to season with salt?
I will.
Very important to season as you go,
That
right,
was
Chef?
46 grains of salt.
Okay.
Very important.
All right.
Who's counting?
You did.
You're the Rain Man of the restaurant.
Well, for
46
se-
grams of salt. 46 grams.
So what he's going to do is we're just going to put all the stuff over there once it's done cooking, and then we'll end up plating it up all nice like. Do you want me to start plating up any of the purees? Which ones do you want to heat up?
Let's do the cabbage. Heat up the cabbage.
All right, I'll get you a pot.
One of the things we teach here, watching you guys season with the salt, you shake it on in there. And one of the things we show our students here is when they're first starting off, put it in your hand first, because otherwise they tend to be a little heavy-handed at times.
Right. As you saw, it's also important with the way we do it pretty high up, so you can get a uniform layering of salt all over the food, and you can kind of see so you don't hopefully don't over season. All right, so he took the cabbage, and now he's mixing that with the potato puree. So it's basically potato puree with butter, and that's just going to glaze the cabbage to give it a nice buttery, potatoy deliciousness.
Deliciousness.
I think
That's the word.
It's an important word in our kitchen.
See why the smell-o-vision was created.
Right.
Now, is this a dish that you would normally have on your menu at the restaurant?
This one we do have on the menu as we speak.
But obviously, like most of the restaurants that are higher end, basically seasonality helps dictate what your menu is going to be.
Indeed.
So depending on when they're watching it. You know, we were just picked up. I just found. I don't even know if Chef B realizes this. We were picked up in Connecticut.
Oh, how about that?
So we're in Connecticut and South Carolina and
Oh, wow.
Maine and upstate New York. If you're watching in any of those places, you can still make reservations when you're down here for Elements in Princeton to enjoy a dish like this. Depending on what season it is, will determine
Right.
what deliciousness they will.
Exactly. You know, and right now South Carolina might have a few different things than Maine might have. But I'm pretty sure everybody is going to have cabbage right now and nuts and all this great stuff. What next, Mike?
So you want to sear off the piece of meat?
I will. How about we do that over here on your side since you're hot? There
Okay.
you go.
You want to use that?
I will use this guy.
Yeah.
He just called you hot and ready to go. How does that make you feel? Someone else offers psychology
Very
here
normal
in our
compared to
stuff.
our restaurant.
We, Mike and I spend a good 80 hours a week together, so you know.
How much of that's at the restaurant? Oh, don't. I'm sorry. He's going to talk now. Here comes the profanity. No, you guys make a great team, obviously. As a matter of fact, I believe recently you took third place in the entire nation for the Seafood Challenge Cook-Off, which for somebody, if you're not familiar with that contest, not only did Chef Scott win the New Jersey title, accompanied by his ever so important sous chef, he went to the national, where it's very rare, we know here in New Jersey, for somebody outside of the South to even take a top 5 spot, let alone number 3. So congratulations again.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
See how
Did I
modest
get
he
it out?
is.
I'm not going to take that. I don't know where you got that information about
What's that?
the Southerners always winning.
I'm trying to help there. They don't always win. They usually, though.
They do.
If you look at the history,
Well, there's
they have an advantage. How's
they
that?
do. They do.
Even if it's just like something else, where especially you guys were driving down, you know, and any travel does take a little bit of toll.
It was awesome though to travel and eat barbecue everywhere and at great restaurants.
It would have been nice if you brought me back a doggy bag or something. Or
They wouldn't have made it.
I was supposed to go with them, they said, and I show up and they had already left.
We took a camper down. I mean,
Which
it
I'm
was-
sure
it was
they,
great.
you're grateful because you had to listen to me talk the whole time, and I'm sure I wouldn't have made it all the way there. You would have threw me out at some point.
No. All right, so you want me to start plating up? Are we almost at that point?
We are.
All right.
So basically, this is, you've already done the sous vide, so it's already really cooked through. You're just trying to put a sear on it and heat it through.
Exactly. Season it back up. We try not to season them in the bags just because it will start curing the meat a little.
So when you put this into your sous vide bag, did you put anything in there at all?
Typically we don't, but if we do put anything, it'll be certain things like thyme, resinous herbs, or oils.
Okay.
Flavored oils, like sometimes we do this dish with where we poach it in hazelnut oil.
And that's something we talk about here as far as poaching, to use a flavorful liquid as opposed to just water.
Right.
What do you have going on this plate, Chef?
Right now, that was the first thing I put down was the hazelnut puree. Then we put on the toasted milk solids. What else was in those milk solids? What's making them orange?
Old Bay.
Old Bay. I don't think you can go wrong with Old Bay on
You
anything.
can't. Let's toast this off the side.
All right, and this is the curd. So what's left over from what he's doing here. This is going to be the whey foam. These are the curds with a little bit of maitake mushrooms. Another thing that we like to do in the restaurant, if we're using, we really only use 3 or 4 different ingredients per plate, which may not look like it here, but it really is. We just use them in many different forms. So we'll have maitakes here, maitake mushrooms in the puree. We have the curds and whey here. We have hazelnuts in various forms. So we just try and, you know, mix it up a little bit so you get different textures, different elements.
Oh, he brought that in. He's learning. Look at that shameless plug almost.
I know.
You're getting there.
I'm quick. You know?
But that also is layering the flavor and compounding the flavor by using them in different forms. And,
Correct.
And that's again, that's why people go out to eat, because if it didn't have this level of complexity in the layering and compounding of flavors, then they would just do this at home. And again, as you said before, not that they can't do this at home, but a lot of people, why bother? Just go out to this wonderful restaurant, enjoy the evening or the afternoon, because you have some great lunchtime specials that you run now, and that may be something that people desire.
I think if you keep doing these shows and people watch all the time, you're gonna put us out of business.
Well, we don't want to put you out of business,
What
but
do you
it's
think?
nice.
Slice
If,
it?
Slice
it's
it.
nice if they can make this at home when they have time. But a lot of people don't have time, so you know, think of it this way: they're supporting you, and you support us.
Right.
So basically, it's a together we're
Everybody wins.
helping the community. Not to mention, look, they get this great dish because the first time that they make this at home, I guarantee it's not going to look like this.
Maybe not. But as you can see, we kept it at 60 degrees, which by FDA standards is the correct temperature.
I'm trying to do the
for pork these
conversion:
days.
60 degrees Celsius.
It's 140 something.
Yeah, 140 something.
Yeah.
145. for our pork.
145.
Right.
But the other thing is also when you talk about it's also the time. You know, obviously
Correct.
you cook something longer and slower as
Right.
opposed to quick. There's a lot going on that plate.
Yep.
But you can make this at home, Frank, because you have all these ingredients in your pantry, don't you?
I'll tell you what, I can eat it right now. I'm not worried about making it at home right now.
Well, you go to the restaurant, you go to Elements enough that you've probably brought a little bit home every time you go.
I collect.
So now, Frank's favorite part coming up here. We're
I
going to
was
get the
saying,
sample.
Speaking of seasons, it's
Well, you
seasons
were-
for eating.
It's like trading places there. So you're speaking and speaking and speaking, and we're looking at this food.
I know.
Usually
I'm-
you're the one saying, you know, I want to eat. So.
I mean,
And
I
why
already
wouldn't
had
you?
two tartars.
We're going to try this pork and hazelnuts, and we'll be right back.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dish It Out. On behalf of Frank Benowitz and our fine chefs, Scott and Mike from Elements, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank you, and we hope to see you again. And now it's Frank's favorite time where we get to enjoy everything. So thanks for joining us on Dish It Out. We'll see you next time.